mid-late 90s, a little two-car garage. And Sherm proceeded to turn this into his safe space, his own personal workshop. He had a couple of vertical milling machines, lathes, welding machines, large selection of tools. This was really his happy place. During the next 5 or 6 years, he and I spent a lot of time together, starting with small block car. And I got to witness Sherm's dedication and commitment again, and his passion for the sport, and how his mind never stops thinking. It was incredible. We used to spend 4 nights a week, all day Saturday, most of the day on Sunday in the shop. Spent a lot of time with Sherm for a lot of years. After the first couple of years, we decided that we were doing pretty well, but we just weren't going fast enough. A small block car was going 770s, 175 mile an hour, and we both just decided how to do something better. Although I do want to mention, while we were doing it, we were a very low operation. Sherm built a lot of parts for that car. Intake manifolds, it takes a lot to build an intake manifold. He built numerous intake manifolds, valve covers. He modified a set of heads that were so off the wall, ridiculous. We had Jessel rockers on it that Jessel told us they would not build arms with any more offset. They'd be out of warranty, they'd be experimental. He built his own dry sump oil pants, own dry sump reservoir, built his own dry sump oil pump, 4-stage pump. It was heavy, it wasn't pretty, but it worked. So the decision was made to move into a faster car, and with the help of Jimmy Carl, put us onto another car, a longer dragster, a better dragster, a newer dragster. That would pretty much do what we were looking for. We purchased the car and started building a new engine for it, new big block engines. I'm going to kind of divert here a little bit and talk about Sherm's work history a little bit for a reason. Sherm was an auto mechanic right out of high school. And he did that until about 2000, for about 23 years. He worked at many, many dealerships and garages, and a lot of guys here know that and worked with him. Or Sherm worked for them. It was a little hard to tolerate sometimes, but I do know it just seemed he always got the difficult jobs, the hard ones, and he kind of reveled in this for a couple of reasons. I think he viewed them as an opportunity to challenge himself, to better himself, to learn more. He was always seeking knowledge, and this was just knowledge. He tried to apply what he was learning to his racing applications. In 2000, he got an opportunity that was just absolutely fantastic. He had the opportunity to go to work for Omega Design, building automated packaging equipment. It was a job that really suited him well from all he learned over the years and his knowledge of just mechanics, of just things. It really worked out well for him, and it took some pressure off of him. He also got a chance to see different manufacturing and engineering techniques he would have never seen as a mechanic. And he used some of them, used a lot of that in the racing operation. Before he retired, he actually had a 3D printed intake manifold for his big block. He spent a lot of time testing materials to make sure whatever they used would not be affected by racing fuels. He had it printed up, he did run it on a car, and it was just an outside the box thought. If anybody's here from Omega, I want to thank you for giving them that opportunity. So the new car, the new dragster, is the black and white one you see over here. And we accumulated a bunch of big block parts. Sherm assembled the first engine with a 565 cubic inch motor. Took it out, and quickly we were running low 720s at about 185 mile an hour. And that generally put us at the top of the heap, but it was just bracket racing. And after about a year of this, we decided there had to be something better for us to do. So we called in our old friend Jimmy, and we had a long conversation about what we thought we wanted to do. And the decision was made, we were going to run competition eliminator, which is a all-out balls-to-the-wall class. It's a category, there's many classes in the category. It's a very difficult class. I don't know if there's anybody here who has, I'm sure there's some who have run it or who are running it. I didn't see if Mark Hopkins here or not. Comp becomes a way of life. It just it consumes you. But Sherm was made for that. We decided to run a dragster with the car. Jimmy had a Lengthen Forest, put a 5-speed transmission in it. Sherm de-stroked the motor, made it a 506 cubic inch motor, and we dynoed out at 1,135 horsepower, but for a couple of guys at a 2-car garage. Wasn't bad. Sherm absolutely loved the racing. We did divisionals, we did nationals. It just was his cup of tea. Unfortunately, we weren't quite as successful as we had hoped to be. We were shooting for 6s at 200 mile an hour. Just never quite got there. I'm gonna blame it on the clutch. But regardless, Sherm was in his element. He was constantly thinking, constantly looking. It was during this time that in the quest to find more power, more speed, we did 2 projects. The first, Sherm wanted to build a flow bench. And a flow bench is a mechanism where you can measure the airflow through a cylinder head, which is how you make power. The people at Sears thought we were crazy when we bought 8 shop vacs. And they would have thought we were crazier if they would know we taken them home and cut them apart right away. Well, we built a case, a plywood case for it, and he built an manometer, some equipment, and we actually had a flow bench that works pretty well. It did what it was supposed to. Our numbers were close to what we got from professional flow benches, so Sherm could make changes to the heads and see if he would plus or minus. The project I think he was most proud of, he got the idea, we were a little heavy. He wanted to take the front half of the body off the dragster. His concern was though aerodynamics. He just wasn't sure how that would affect it at 200 mile an hour. You know, if the driver would have been a little bit lighter, we wouldn't have to worry about that. So anyway, we did what we had to do. Sherm wanted to build a wind tunnel. And we built a wind tunnel. The wind tunnel was 40 feet long. The inlet was 5 foot high, 4 foot wide. The neck down to a 1x1 area where the scales were, and then it increased to 4x4. We had a large industrial fan with a variable speed drive on it that we got from LB Metals. We ran that fan way too fast, but it never blew up, thank God. We had a couple of digital scales located in position front and rear of the car, and we had a fish scale with a pulley and a fishing line on it to measure the drag on the car. Problem is we needed a model to put in there. And what you see over here on the table, the silver dragster is the first model Sherm built. And that was for wind tunnel testing. And we tested it in the wind tunnel. And believe it or not, we actually got representative results of what the coefficient of drag should have been. And we were able to make changes and see if we got downforce on the front or the back. To double check ourselves, we bought some other cars that we knew coefficient of drag for body styles and put them in and tested them, and we were coming up real close. It was quite impressive. This 12-inch square area was Lexan. You can see inside it and just watch what was going on. We only had that for a couple of months, and unfortunately the location where we had built the wind tunnel, we lost the location. And that's over there, he built that. That was the first one, I think, after the dragster. That was a gift, he gave it to me when he finished it up. If you look at it closely, Sherm, when he machined like the engine parts and stuff, he machined them in pieces and bolted them together with size 0 screws. And he developed that skill. He built probably 15, 20 more models in the course of time, and every one got better than the last, and he always developed more. He would go over to Jimmy's shop and look at different parts and scale them so he could build them to direct scale, to correct proportions for these cars. He used to enter these cars in competition, these models in competitions. And typical Sherm, he generally had the nicest thing there. He'd leave before the awards. The one car that did get recognition is the one on behind the dragster. This is Blitzkrieg Altered. And that received, that's an article that was in a magazine called Model Cars or something like that. And if you look, some of the pictures, some of the detail pictures on the right-hand side, you can see what he built, and you'd be hard-pressed not to know that was a real thing. So after X amount of years of building models, he got the itch. He wanted another street car. And Sherm just doesn't do anything the easy way. He settled on a 37 Chevy that was an ex-pro mod car, full fiberglass body. Again, it came basically as a rolling chassis and nothing else. I remember him showing it to me when he got it and explaining to me what he was going to do and how he was going to do it. I thought he was crazy. Never thought he'd finish. I'm glad I never said anything to him because he proved me wrong. Not only did he finish the car, it was complete with a 604 cubic inch engine, had a Lenco transmission in it, and for people who don't know what a Lenco transmission is a race transmission. It does not downshift, it upshifts only. And he drove that car a lot. I mean, he put well over 1,000 miles on that car. You may not think that's a lot. In that car, that was a lot of miles. He and Chris went to a lot of car shows in it. People definitely knew them. And it was a highlight of his life, I'm sure it was. He also 92 Ford Probe. Again, it's the same type of car as before, all fiberglass body, complete race car tube chassis. 604 inches wasn't enough for Sherm. He had to build a 707 cubic inch motor for it. Although the Lenco had to go, he put an automatic in this one. Sherm loved how low that car sat, and that's really what drove him to it. So anyway, that pretty much concludes the celebration, or my part of it. Hope I didn't bore you too much. I just had to give it to you from my point of view. I do want to say that before, at the end. Sherm did find God. And I think it gave him peace at the end. I think he was always curious in the back of his mind. And he found that the time was right. Hope you have many good memories of Sherm. Hope something came back to you today. On behalf of Chris and the Sherman family, again, thank you for being here. And thank you to everybody that brought a car out today to show. It's an impressive turnout. There's organized car shows, don't get that many. I think we're getting ready to eat. Chris, what's the plan now?